Have you ever watched someone lose everything in just a few minutes? Imagine working with honesty for years, only to be humiliated, fired in front of everyone, and told you were worthless. Now imagine that same person quietly making one phone call that changed every life in that building forever. But this isn't a story about revenge. It's a story about kindness, dignity, and the surprising power of staying humble when the world gives you every reason not to. Sometimes the people we judge the fastest are carrying the greatest strength. And sometimes, one act of compassion can reveal the truth that no title, money, or position ever could. Stay with me until the end, because this unforgettable story may change the way you see people forever. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Heartline Stories, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us continue sharing powerful stories that remind us kindness can still change the world. Marcus Johnson was a hard-working black single father raising his 8-year-old daughter, Ava, in Chicago. Every morning before sunrise, he packed her lunch, braided her hair as best as he could, and dropped her off at school before heading to work. Marcus worked as a maintenance supervisor at one of the city's biggest luxury hotels. He wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. But he believed that doing honest work with respect mattered. His co-workers admired him because he never refused to help anyone. If a housekeeper struggled with heavy supplies, Marcus helped. If a new employee felt nervous, Marcus encouraged them. Even difficult guests often left smiling after speaking with him. At home, life wasn't easy. Bills piled up every month, and there were nights Marcus skipped dinner so Ava could have seconds. Yet he never complained. His daughter often heard him say, "Kindness costs nothing, sweetheart, but it can change someone's whole day." One Monday morning, everything changed. The hotel had hired a new general manager named Richard Collins. He believed strict rules created better employees, but many workers quickly learned he judged people before knowing them. Richard cared more about appearances than character. That morning, a wealthy guest complained that the air conditioning in his suite had stopped working. Marcus rushed upstairs and repaired it within minutes. But before he could explain what had happened, the angry guest shouted that the delay had ruined an important business meeting. Richard didn't ask Marcus for his side of the story. Instead, he marched into the lobby where guests and employees were watching. "You're fired," Richard said loudly. "Pack your things. We don't need workers who embarrass this hotel." Marcus stood silently. Several employees tried to defend him, explaining that the complaint wasn't his fault. Richard refused to listen. Marcus looked around at his co-workers. Many had tears in their eyes. Instead of arguing, Marcus simply nodded. "I hope one day you learn to listen before judging people," he said calmly. Then he picked up the small toolbox he had carried for years and walked toward the exit. Outside, he sat on a bench. He thought about Ava. He thought about the rent due next week. For a moment, fear almost overwhelmed him. Then he remembered something his late mother always told him. "When people treat you unfairly, don't lose your kindness. Let truth do the talking." Marcus pulled out his phone and made one quiet call. "Hello," he said. "This is Marcus Johnson. I think it's time." Across town, an older businessman smiled. "I've been waiting for your call." Within 30 minutes, 3 black SUVs rolled into the hotel parking lot. Everyone inside stopped what they were doing. Richard walked confidently into the lobby, assuming important investors had arrived. Instead, the visitors asked only one question. "Where is Marcus Johnson?" Richard frowned. "He doesn't work here anymore." The visitors exchanged surprised looks. Then the oldest man introduced himself. "My name is William Carter. I'm the chairman of Carter Hospitality Group." Richard's face turned pale. The hotel wasn't independently owned. It belonged to Carter Hospitality Group. William continued calmly. 5 years ago, I asked Marcus to secretly evaluate how our employees and managers treated people. He agreed because he believed kindness should matter more than job titles. The lobby became completely silent. Every month, William said, Marcus submitted detailed reports. He praised hard-working employees and defended those treated unfairly. His honesty has helped improve dozens of our hotels. Richard could barely speak. I didn't know. William looked directly into his eyes. Exactly. You never asked. He then pulled out Marcus's latest report. Ironically, Marcus had recommended that Richard be given more leadership training instead of punishment because he believed everyone deserved a chance to grow. William slowly closed the folder. Even after the way you treated him, Marcus showed you kindness. Richard lowered his head in shame. William turned toward his executive team. Marcus's final recommendation before today was very clear. He looked at his phone and read aloud. Anyone who humiliates employees, refuses to hear the truth, or leads through fear should not remain responsible for other people's futures. William nodded. Fire every one of them. Within the hour, Richard and several managers who had repeatedly mistreated staff were dismissed. But Marcus still wasn't celebrating. When William called asking him to return as regional operations director, Marcus hesitated. I'll come back, he said softly, but only if no one is humiliated the way I was. William smiled. That's exactly why you're the right person. Marcus returned to the hotel the following week. Employees applauded as he walked through the lobby. Some even cried. Richard unexpectedly asked to speak with him before leaving. I judged you because of your position, Richard admitted. I never saw the person behind the uniform. Marcus looked at him quietly. I forgive you. Richard stared in disbelief. You do? Marcus nodded. Holding on to anger only creates more pain. I hope you become the kind of leader who listens before judging. Those words stayed with Richard long after he left. Months later, Marcus transformed the workplace. He introduced leadership classes focused on respect. Every employee, from janitors to executives, shared lunch together once a month. Managers were required to spend one day each quarter working alongside frontline staff so they would understand their challenges. The hotel's customer ratings reached record highs. Employee turnover dropped dramatically. People didn't work harder because they feared losing their jobs. They worked harder because they felt respected. One evening, Ava visited the hotel after school. She watched employees smiling as they greeted her father. Daddy, she whispered, why is everyone so happy now? Marcus smiled. Because kindness spreads faster than anger when someone chooses to start it. Years later, many people forgot the day Marcus was fired. But no one forgot what happened afterward. They remembered the man who had every reason to seek revenge but instead chose fairness. They remembered the father who protected others even after being hurt himself. And they remembered that true leadership is never measured by power, wealth, or titles. It is measured by how we treat people when they have nothing to offer us in return. If this story touched your heart, remember this simple truth. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you may never see. Listen before judging. Help before criticizing. Choose kindness even when life feels unfair. Because one small act of compassion can change a family, a workplace, or even an entire community. Thank you for spending your time with Heartline Stories. If this story inspired you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness is always stronger than pride. Until next time, keep leading with compassion, because the world will always need more hearts willing to lift others up.